So this is funny because there's a motto in life: can't beat them, join them. If you can't be the best, copy the best. And that's what every team's now trying to do with Cincinnati. They're trying to copy Cincinnati. Where for the longest time they just didn't respect Cincinnati and saw Cincinnati as, oh yeah, they're nothing good. They're not that great. You know, they're overrated, blah blah blah. They don't have anything. Now everyone wants to be Cincinnati. So the reason why the Bills drafted Dalton Kincaid with a 26th overall pick, which is ironically enough because if he was still available at the 28th overall pick for Cincinnati, it's a good chance they might have taken him at the 28th pick, was because of the Bengals versus Bills game last year in the playoffs. So Buffalo general manager Brandon Breen has acknowledged that he cannot add playmakers around quarterback Josh Allen like Cincinnati Bengals did after selecting Joe Burrow. Despite taking Burrow, the Bengals sucked enough to pick within the top 10 a year later in 2021, snagging receiver Jamar Chase at pick 5. You can tell this is a Bills like fan page because they quoted that in a positive context when the Bills literally traded away. The pick they traded away for Stephon Diggs was that pick with Justin Jefferson. So they traded away picks, right, to get Stephon Diggs and the Vikings. That same pick they traded away, a 21st overall pick, ended up being Justin Jefferson. Remember, guys, if you want to suck hard enough to get the 21st overall pick in the first round, they could have had Jay Jettis. But instead, they didn't get Jay Jettis because that's why they're copying the Bengals. Because they're still below. Unfortunately, that isn't a luxury the Bills have right now. But that doesn't mean they can't minute the Bengals did in other ways. It's funny because the Bills had 26th overall pick this year. I love it. I love it so much because the Bills GM looks so stupid in that, and I couldn't get enough of it. In recent article from Sports Illustrated, Albert Beer, he shed light on how the Bengals influenced the Bills in taking Utah tight end Dalton Kincaid with a number 26 overall pick in this year's draft. So as for what the Bills saw in Kincaid, they wanted to find a mismatched player, be it a receiver or tight end, in the first couple rounds, and had a handful they thought might be available to them over the draft in the first 2 nights. In the playoff game exit, the Bills watched the Bengals bracket and double Stephon Diggs, and they knew they needed more ways to make defenses pay for that approach. First off, they did bracket and double Stephon Diggs, but Stephon Diggs played awful in that game already. I mean, the Bengals shut him down, but Stephon Diggs definitely did a little bit more crying than he did in any other way. Even Eli Apple shut him down in a couple plays. Like, come on now. Diggs was held to 4 receptions for 35 yards in the Bills' loss to the Bengals 27-10. Just remember, Eric Weddle said there was a 0% chance Bengals could win that game. Tight end Dalton Knox and rookie receiver Khalil Shahir led the team in receiving with 65 yards on 5 catches and 40 yards on 2 receptions. Respectively, the Bengals defense game plan to take away Diggs and pressure Allen worked to near perfection. Kincaid isn't the traditional number 2 receiver that some fans wanted as a result of the disappointing postseason exit. So, what was it about his tape that made Buffalo trade up for him? I will say that I feel like for the Bills here, what they really need is a dominant running back, and they need to stop using their quarterback as a running back. And if they, in that game, that playoff game, Bills versus Bengals, Joe Mixon and that offensive line really carried that game 1,000%. Like, Burrow played fine, the receivers played fine. But the run game really opened up for the Bengals. And that made it so that they could control time possession. Their defense just absolutely lights out. I really think if the Bills had like a Derrick Henry in that game, especially in the snow and the slippery conditions, I feel like that game would have been closer. I would feel like they need more of a running back rather than their quarterback being a running back. He was instinctive and smart enough to snuff out man versus zone coverages and react to it quickly, something that is essential to winning in areas where things happen fast. Beal wrote, that helped Josh Allen too in giving him a weapon who could react in hot situations against blitz looks. And I think is that all they talk? Yeah, that's all they really talk about with that. Surprisingly enough, I thought they were going to go into the fact that Hayden Hurst in that game actually played really good. Hayden Hurst had a touchdown in that game. He also had a couple key receptions that moved the chains and got them farther down the field. I thought that was what they were going to go into on why, they drafted Dalton Kincaid, was because, you look at the Bengals here, right? And you got, well, Jamar Chase obviously had a great game. Everyone had a good game on that Bengals offense, in all honesty. But even Hayden Hurst did. And I thought he was going to go into the fact that, if you shut down all the weapons, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd, which you're going to need a snowstorm to do because that's almost impossible, then you have Hayden Hurst, a vertical threat tight end, who's just going to open up the game and absolutely blow past you. And then you're like, wait, hold up, what? We just shut down all your weapons. How do you have this guy now? This year's Irv Smith, but last year, I thought that's what they were going to kind of allude to on why they drafted a tight end, was because of the fact that, we were able to move the ball so efficiently with our tight end and get a couple first downs with the tight end position. Surprisingly enough, it's the fact that they want to make defenses pay, which I think, again, like I said, if you really want to make defenses pay, look back at that game and look how good Joe Mixon played in that game. Good offensive line, even with the offensive line being banged up in that game. The snow helped a lot, but that run game was powerful. And that's what you really want to do if you want to open up this game, is keep a defense, keep the defense honest. That's what I always say. Keep the defense honest. Never be one-dimensional, right? In that game, the Bengals were the opposite of one-dimensional, and the Bills were one-dimensional. The Bills didn't run the ball. They just kept throwing the football. Josh Allen would run the ball, right? The Bengals were the opposite. They could run the ball, pass the ball, they could do anything. When you were so committed to stopping Joe Mixon, then bam, Hayden Hurst across the middle for a 60-yard play. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd. Yes, they have a lot of weapons, but they also kept the whole entire game. They kept the Bills honest on defense, and they were never one-dimensional. The Bills became one-dimensional in the first quarter of that game, and they never went away from it. And that, I think, is really the big problem here. If you're the Bills, I would have gone and drafted a big running back. In the first round, 26 pick, you're not going to draft a running back, especially because Gibbs was going. If Gibbs was still there, you could say Gibbs. They take Gibbs. But I think they need to change up the whole offense and be more of a, less of a quarterback running offense and more just an overall really productive offense. But hey, listen, if they want to copy Cincinnati and try their best to be better than Houday, you're not going to be. Sorry. 0-4. Peace out, guys.